For Calgary, McKay's-Nosa.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just wanted to take a couple of minutes to speak to this motion, urging the government to reject cooperation with the federal government in the imposition of the Paris Agreement on climate change. And I find the wording very interesting. I don't think that this is a situation of imposition so much as an agreement. The Paris Accord was actually ratified by Canada on October 5th in 2016. So I'm a little confused as to why this would be an emergency right now. We've had a couple of years to talk about it, but in doing some research on this afternoon, trying to understand more about the Paris Accord so I could speak rather cogently this afternoon. When you take a look at the Canada.ca website, there's actually really great information, and they talk about long-term goals and what we need to do to mitigate climate change. It is a foregone conclusion that we are seeing the effects of climate change, and they will continue to accelerate. So long-term goals including adaptation. So what can we do to adapt to our changing climate and the weather that it produces? We've seen the forest fires in California, and I'm sure that was really reminiscent of what we experienced in Fort McMurray here in Alberta. I'm sure that was really difficult for a lot of people to see that. And if we can do anything to prevent that from happening somewhere else that doesn't include rakes or vacuum cleaners in the forests, I think that it's incumbent upon us to do that. Some of the other things that are highlighted on the website are a cooperative approach, and I think collaboration and integrated approaches to problem solving are always the most effective way to address an issue. If we try and solve something in a silo on our own or by denying that it exists, we're not going to solve any problems. We're just going to kick the can down the road for somebody else to deal with, and that'll be our kids, and I don't think that that's a very fair burden to put on them. Some other highlights from the website talk about the finance. So it costs money to address this problem. The model that we have right now is certainly good at generating wealth in many areas, but we need to change that so that the way that we run our economy allows people to build wealth, but also mitigates the effects of climate change. That's incredibly important, and transparency and stock taking. So we can't solve a problem if we're not really clear and honest about where we are now and where we want to be in the future. And none of those things happen if we don't have good communication, if we don't have good relationships between different levels of government and between governments across the world. And so for all of these reasons, and the fact that this really isn't an emergency for us to debate right now, I will not support this motion.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Are there any other members wishing to speak? The Honourable Member for Edmonton-McLeod.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.